Ecowas has declared readiness to invade Niger as France flags support for them. Of course, France will always support any war that wants to happen in Niger because their business centers must be kept in a very tight way. Just like tomorrow, if anybody wants to fight or if there's any coup in Nigeria, the US will come in with serious anger, including the UK, because Nigeria is their business center and they can do everything possible to keep it working. Now, ECOWAS defense chief declared readiness to invade Niger. Uh, Now, that's one of the news. The stormy clouds of war are gathering ominously over the dreary landscape of the Sahel after troops of the Economic Community of West African States (ECOWAS) yesterday stated its readiness to participate in a standby force that is preparing to intervene in the Republic of Niger. This is coming after a raft of trade and financial sanctions already applied since the July 26 military takeover failed to make the coup leadership succumb. The bloc military chief met in Ghana to discuss a possible armed intervention to reverse the coup in Niger, just as Germany called for European Union (EU) sanctions against the rebel leaders. Although the defense chiefs had backed the calls for dialogue as a mediation tactic, the group said all elements that would go into any military intervention had been worked out and were being refined. This included the timing, resources needed and how, where and when to deploy such force. Ivory Coast, Benin and Nigeria are expected to contribute troops, but little details has yet to emerge over the potential Niger operation. You see, this thing is very, very funny because at the end of the day, it is the poor masses that will face this thing. I said it again, Nigeria is too weak. Nigeria is too weak to begin a war. Nigeria is too weak to begin a war. And whatever they try to do, however way they try to invade, it is going to affect Nigeria more. It's going to affect Niger, but it will eventually affect Nigeria more because we already have problems and these terrorists will have time to take time. Alarmed by a series of military takeovers in the region, ECOWAS and its second extraordinary summit on Niger last week in Abuja agreed to activate a standby force to restore constitutional order in Niger. Remember that African Union kicked against it. Even the ECOWAS parliament kicked against it. But of course, some greedy politicians, some puppets who wants to prove to France and the Western country that they can always back us like a dog anytime they see bone. At yesterday's meeting in Ghana's capital Accra, the defense chief said they are prepared to reinstate the democratic order in Niger. The Accra meeting of top army commanders, which continues today, is coming after fresh violence in Niger, with jihadists killing at least 17 soldiers in an ambush. 20 more soldiers were wounded, 6 seriously, in the heaviest losses since the July 26 coup when the Presidential Guard ousted President Mohamed Bazoum and detained him and his family. Jihadist insurgencies have gripped Africa's Sahel region for more than a decade, breaking out in northern Mali in 2012 before spreading to neighboring Niger and Burkina Faso in 2015. The unrest across the region has killed thousands of troops, police officers and civilians and forced millions to flee their homes. Anger at the bloodshed has fueled military coups in Mali and Burkina Faso since 2020, with Niger being the latest to fall. But with ECOWAS securing the backing of the military of 10 of the 15 member states in its effort to restore democratic government in Niger, the war is now at the doorstep of Niamey, Niger capital. The 10 countries in Ghana expressed readiness to participate in a standby force. All member states except those under military rule and Cape Verde pledged to participate in the standby force. We warn Nigerians again, and I'm warning Nigeria not to participate in this thing. It will not end well. It will not end well. It will not end well. We are a suffering state, and of course, lots of things are happening already. We have failure in security. Our economic is already crashing. No fuel. We saw a video where military were pushing their truck, their tank. I want to understand. We even saw where helicopter had to crash in Niger, where soldiers were lost. This thing, we cannot continue to create problem for ourselves. This Boko Haram that we are suffering today, it is not made by Nigerians. They know, those top politicians know who is behind this Boko Haram, but they keep sending young boys to die because they are not their children. Now, the Accra meeting would fine tune details in case the bloc were to resort to the ultimate means of force. The military junta in Niger is playing a cat and mouse game with Ecowas. They have flouted their own constitution and Ecowas protocols. The military authorities in Niger appear to remain defiant. At the end of this two-day meeting on Friday, the defense chief will announce the next step. You see, we keep talking about democracy and keep talking about democracy in Africa. We truly know that democracy is a sham, is a scam, and it does not work for Africans, because it seems what these people did was to organize Africa properly. Yes, I know they enslaved Africa many years ago. For 400 years, Africa was enslaved, but they organized Africans very well, that even though they leave Africa, they don't just want to remove the chain from our legs, they want to put it in our minds. So when a country is coming to threaten a sovereignty, telling them that they will not leave, it is only the legitimate people that will tell them to leave before they will leave. I ask, who is the legitimate people? The same man who so many stories are surrounding him, knowing fully well that this man, he didn't even win the election. I'm not even talking about him, I'm talking about Mahmoud of Niger, the one that was dethroned. So many details is surrounding him. He is there, his people are suffering, he doesn't care. All he knows is to extort money from the country. Now Ecowas wants to invade, and you say they broke constitutional rights, knowing fully well that you were the ones that broke these constitutional rights in the first place. Well, I hope they have a story to tell, because it won't end well. I'm saying it because I understand the pain that Nigerians are already going through. We are already a suffering state trying to survive. These people want to invade. Thanks for supporting the Future News. Peace.